On today's episode of What's Going On with Shipping, we have dramatic new video showing the rescue of the 20 crew members from the MSC Baltic III pulled by a Cormorant helicopter of the Royal Canadian Air Force, brought to us by Matt from 103. I'm your host, Sal Mercogliano. Welcome to today's episode. So that video was posted by Matt from 103 on his YouTube channel. I had an opportunity to talk with Matt by email the other day, and I want to show his video along with giving you some more context about what happened with the MSC Baltic III. If you're new to the channel, hey, take a moment, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell to be alerted about new videos as they come out. First off, I want to thank several key people here for bringing us these images. Melanie, Gerard, Joyce over on Facebook had posted most of those videos you see, and you're going to see part of the videos today. She posted them. She lives on Newfoundland, went out there by snowmobile. You can see her snowmobiles in some of the shots here. She was able to catch MSC Baltic III aground off the west coast of Newfoundland with these really dramatic images. She has a Facebook page. Go on over and like and thank her for these images if you can. She did a fantastic job of catching the images of everything that transpired. The other page, and the one we're going to be featuring a video from today, is from Matt from 103. 103 is one of the search and rescue squadrons located out there that flew the Cormorant helicopter. We're going to be looking at this video today, the helicopter rescue ship. But more importantly, he's got some great other videos here. In particular, I really recommend the narrated tour of the Cormorant helicopter. You get to see how unique that helicopter is. It's a massive helicopter. It's not an H-60 used by the U.S. Navy or the Coast Guard. A Cormorant is a big honking bird. They were able to put 20 of the crew in one helicopter. I made a mistake in my previous video. I thought they would have to at least use 2 helicopters. No, I was wrong. They used 1, including several of the crew members in stretchers, and you'll see that in the video. All right, let's go ahead and jump over to Matt's video. So Matt's video is not a long one. It's only about 5 minutes, and I'm going to go ahead and let it play. He gives you some context here of the ship losing power going into Lark Cove. The Joint Rescue Command Center in Halifax is the one that tasked the 2 Cormorant helicopters from 103 and 1 from 413 Squadron to head out. I had assumed, again, that you were going to see several helicopters perform this rescue. This is probably some of the best imagery that Matt got from the crew that went out there. This is the arrival on scene. They're coming up from the south here, and you're looking toward the northeast here of MSC Baltic III ashore in the cove. So a couple of things to note here. MSC Baltic III had just come up from Mexico, the Bahamas, and the United States. You'll notice the white containers on the ship. At one end or the other, they'll have some machinery on them. These are refrigerated containers. These refrigerated containers are probably full of fruit or vegetables. They're designed to maintain a climate, and they were probably being used to haul that type of cargo up. You tend not to fly it up. You don't want to put it on big, huge ships because it takes too long. So you use smaller vessels for this. Just take a note of these seas that are coming in. Those containers you see there are about 8 to 9 feet tall. And so, you know, when you see water coming up to the main deck of the ship, that's about 30 feet up. So you're getting waves about 20 to 30 feet. Then you see it crashing over some of these containers. We're talking about some 50-foot waves crashing in here. So now you're seeing the helicopter come into position here. You'll notice that there's some captions here. So the helicopter's in position, and now the hoisting will begin. So a couple of things to know. When you do a rescue like this, the search and rescue technicians, the SAR-techs, the STs, will be hoisted down to the ship. They're actually going to put 4 SAR-techs on board the ship. You don't just start hoisting the crew up. You actually have to take crew off your helicopter and put them on deck. And the reason for that is, number one, you have to package any injured personnel. You have to get them on stretchers. You have to make sure they're strapped in well so they don't come loose. And even with the man, look at that wave right there. It's almost up to the bridge level. But as you have to package even the unhurt crew, you need to have safety when you're doing this. So I'm going to assume that first SAR-tech is probably the most dangerous position, because those first SAR-techs are coming down probably without any guidelines at all on them. When the second ones come in, at least they should have a guideline attached to the ship, but I'm not 100% sure they would have. I mean, that went over the mast of the top of the ship there. So if you watch this ship is pendulating and pitching. And so this crew on this helicopter has got to not just maintain position, but they got to match the ship rocking beneath them. And the damage this ship is incurring sitting on that rocky bottom there, they're going to be ripping the bottom out. There was a report that some Coast Guard helicopters and planes came out to see whether or not there was a pollution spill. They hadn't seen it yet. Man, that second rescue tech is just pendulating at the bottom there. Really got to be worried about crashing into part of the ship. Looks like they're coming down on the starboard bridge wing. That seems to be where they're focusing their landings on. But you can see how the ship is moving. I also inadvertently mentioned the other day, I thought the ship had dropped an anchor, but it didn't. Both anchors are housed. Here comes the third rescue tech coming down now. Both anchors are housed, so they never dropped an anchor on the vessel. I should also note one of the things about the ship when it loses power. These ships have slow speed diesel engines, meaning the diesel engine is directly connected to the propeller. The diesel engine, when you lose power, whether it's electricity to the engine or the engine itself dies, here comes down the fourth rescue tech at this time. When the main engine loses propulsion, you will have an emergency diesel generator that kicks on. It'll give you some emergency lighting. It will give you some control of the wheel of the rudder. You don't need power usually to drop an anchor. Now you're seeing an uninjured sailor being sent back up to the helicopter. They're coming up in one of those mooring baskets. Oh, that helicopter, when it backs up, it's got its back to the cliff right there. So you've got to worry about that tail rotor coming in contact with the cliff. Now, there's a little bit more distance there than it appears, but it just gives you a little bit of motion here. Here you can see the crew members coming on. Now, they're blurring the faces of the crew members to protect them. The ones with those red kind of horseshoe life jackets on, those are members from the crew right there. You'll see some of the patients strapped in stretchers below here. They're kind of lying on the floor of the helicopter here. The crew with the full immersion Gumby suits on, like you're seeing right there with the SAR on, those are the helo crew. And you can see patients in stretchers there laid out across. Let's come over here to marine traffic. So when Baltic loses its propulsion, when that main engine goes off, there's nothing that can propel that ship without the main engine. Now, we don't know why she lost power. It could have been a fuel issue, could have been mechanical, could be human. We just don't know. But you would have to restart that engine. And first you have to figure out what caused the engine to lose power in the first place. And then you would have to try to restart the engine. But as I mentioned the other day, because of the weather, and we'll throw weather up here real quick, the ship is encountering at least 33 knot winds coming from almost due west. So that's pushing it on the beach. At the same time, you're dealing with a significant height of waves and swells of 4.5 meters. So we're talking about 15 to 18 foot waves coming in. All of that is just sending the MSC Baltic III, literally propelling it toward the shore. Now, there's a question about dropping an anchor. The problem with dropping an anchor is, notice how deep this water is. This is in meters. Most ships carry 10 shots of anchor. An anchor shot is 90 feet or 27 meters of anchor. So each shot is 27 meters. So if you have 10 of those, it's 270 meters. You can see how deep this water is. If you drop that anchor, and at this speed, it's never going to hold. And instead, the ship literally is just propelled into that cove, and the ship comes hard aground. And here you see the arrival of the Henry Larsen. They would have called out a mayday as soon as they lost power. But here they are at 0830 UTC time, and they're coming ashore here at about 1125 UTC time. So you're talking just about a few hours here to get out. That's not a lot of time to get rescue vessels, tugs, salvage vessels out in the way. And more importantly, can anybody get a line to the ship and rein it in? This crew is really fortunate they came ashore in the cove the way they did. moored here. If you look at, let's look at the satellite imagery right here. There's access. Wild Cove is right here. There's actually a road up here. This is where you saw those images that were filmed from here. And then the port that they were heading into over here, Corner Brook, is right over here on the other side. So they were waiting for probably either a berth to open up or for better weather so that they can come in the channel here and navigate through. You really don't want to be in these narrow waters and high seas and high winds. Here's the situation right now by marine traffic. MSC Baltic III isn't showing up anymore on AIS, probably because it's lost power. The Avalon C has been dispatched. She is heading for Corner Brook. This is an offshore supply vessel. It is going to assist in any salvage of the vessel in the area. Mediterranean Shipping has got 2 vessels in close proximity moved in, the MSC England and then MSC Carmen also in the area. Not a lot that these ships can do. It's not like you can really take the cargo off of the vessel. And in the meantime, the Canadian Coast Guard has a vessel in the area. This is Anne Harvey sitting off of Corner Brook. So right now, the position of MSC Baltic III is right here in this area. Looking at the weather right now in and around the area, we can see pretty bad weather coming in here. We're still seeing about 29, 30 knot winds in and around the area. The sea swells have died down to about 1.3 meters. So still poor conditions off the western shore of Newfoundland. It's just luck, I will tell you, in many ways, that all 20 crew members got off that ship and no one was killed. Obviously, we had several crew members hurt. You saw at least 2 in stretchers there coming off. But listen, I really want to thank Matt from 103 for posting that video, giving some commentary there. I want to thank Melanie, Gerard for posting that imagery. It's really key for us to understand. And I appreciate everybody's questions. I'm going to post this video and I'm going to put a pinned comment there for questions and answers. So if you have a specific question and answer you want addressed, please put it underneath that comment on that answer. I get a lot of comments on the video. If you just want to say thanks for the video, I appreciate that. Please feel free to comment. But if you want a direct question or answer, please do it. But more importantly, please, please, please go over to Matt from 103 on YouTube and go like and subscribe to his channel. He's got a grand total of 8,300 subscribers. I want to see my 400,000 subscribers. Go over to Matt from 103 and give him some likes, some shares, give him some subscribes. Let's get him over 10,000. He does a fantastic job. Watch his videos. They're great. Really, really, one of the things I love about YouTube is you can find subject matter experts out there. And listen, my invite to Matt, come on the channel. We'll talk about this at rescue and what the Royal Canadian Air Force does in terms of search and rescue. They do a fantastic, fantastic. Hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you did, hey, take a moment, subscribe, not to my channel, but to Matt from 103 or Melanie, Gerard's channel over in Facebook. Go like them, but don't care about my channel today. Go give them some love. They're the ones who need it. I'm going to have the links to both their channels right here so you can go over and head to their channels. Please do so. Head on over to their channels. Give them a like. Thank them for what they do, especially Matt and the crew from the 103rd, from 103 Squadron. Sorry, I say that wrong. I always forget. It's different the way the U.S. says the numbers than the Royal Canadian. It's 103 Squadron. Thank 103 Squadron and all the search and rescue personnel that go out there and put their lives on the line. So the next episode is Sal, signing off.